So over the month of January, I was in Massachusetts, student teaching at the Clark School for Hearing and Speech. And while I was there, I was in the preschool room working with 3 and 4 year olds. So our classroom was about 8 kids, which was pretty big for the school. They were used to a much smaller class size, but it was just a coincidence that they had kind of a surplus of children coming in all at once. And so the kids had a range of hearing losses, a range of language abilities, and even differing communication modes. Several students seemed to use sign either as supplement as a supplement or kind of focused more in sign language. And the teachers and the administrators were did bring up that they weren't sure if, those students would stay at Clark or if they would kind of move on to a different program. But it was really interesting because my teacher has a background in sign language, so she incorporated tons of visual information into her teaching, and it was really great for those kids. So we were in a classroom setting, in a group setting at all times, and then throughout the day, a speech language pathologist would come and take out one child at a time to do 30 minutes of one-on-one direct instruction, and that's where the kids would receive their speech, syntax instruction, auditory skills and all of that stuff was with the speech language pathologist and not the teacher of the deaf. So throughout the day, we were kind of facilitating centers, doing circle time, story time, snack time, go out and play at recess and that sort of thing. And it was great. I was a little thrown by being in that position rather than being the one kind of facilitating very structured lessons and more structured lessons with goals and information and tracking for each child. So that was different. I am not complaining. It was still a really great learning environment for the kids. They received a lot of exposure to we did a lot of language experience things and, fun learning activities. It was just not so much what I was used to. Leave it at that. But it was a really great environment, very warm and friendly. The kids loved it. It was very small. The building itself was very small, and everyone was just very comfortable and very, very kind, and I loved it there. So now, in our final rotation, I am at Moog, the Moog Center for Deaf Education here in St. Louis, and I am in the Family Center. So I'm now working with the toddlers between 2 and 3 years old. Yeah, 2 and 3 years old. And I think I have about 6 that I work with kind of in a rotation throughout the week. So during the time that they're there, they're playing in their group setting, and then we come in as pull-out teachers and we take the child into a therapy room, and that's where we have a full hour with the child to cover all the bases, where we're in charge of teaching vocab, syntax, auditory skills, speech, everything. And, there's constant tracking with each child has a notebook, they have their own box, and you're keeping track of all the vocabulary that they have and introducing new words each time you're there, each time you have the child. And it's very structured, it's very individualized to each child, and there's a lot more on the teacher of the deaf as opposed to what I was seeing at Clark, which I think is great, something that I'm a little more used to, because that's what I was doing at CID, and that's what I was doing as an itinerant teacher too. So I seem a little bit more comfortable at Moog, and I really love it so far. Everyone at Moog has been so wonderful, extremely professional, very supportive of me, and I've had a lot of really good experiences there. I love the parent support aspect. I didn't get to experience a lot of interactions with parents and early intervention at Clark. So this is really nice to see how the teacher interacts with parents and coaches them, and that's been a really great learning experience. And this is not to like complain in any way. This is not a bad comparison, but I do find that Moog is more structured and a little bit more organized as a program in comparison to Clark, and I do like that a lot, which is great. But overall, at both schools, they are oral based. I haven't seen any sign, and I don't think I will, any sign exposure at Moog. They are strictly oral. But I did really appreciate seeing that at Clark. It was a cool experience. But overall, both of my cooperating teachers have been incredible. Marjorie at Clark gave me kind of big picture advice on Teacher of the Deaf and being an educator in general, and kind of a lot more on education philosophy and that sort of advice, while Rhonda is really great at giving me specific advice on techniques and skills and practices that I use with kids overall. So I'm very excited to continue on in this rotation, and I'm excited to see where I end up in the end. So yeah, thank you.